unlike last time, I'm in Carl style. Okay, so one thing that I did in February was I went to a 4-day workshop at Oakton Community College. So this is kind of a plug for them, I guess. And they have another 4-day workshop coming up in August of the next school year. So this is kind of a handout. You can literally Google it. There's really no easy site to get to it. And you can sign up for free. They will put you up in a hotel. They will feed you lunch. They will kind of feed you dinner sometimes. And they really are just looking for teachers to come in and work with them on their nano lab. They have a grant through the National Science Foundation to do this for high school teachers. And since I know sometimes it's hard for you to ask your department chair to get a sub for 4 days, especially the mean ones. All right.
These department chairs or these subs?
I know. I talked to the guy that runs this, and I said, hey, do you think instead of paying for a hotel, because most people that would probably be coming wouldn't want to stay in a hotel right by in Skokie, I don't know, wherever they are, and could they pay the school to have the subs? And he said, probably. They might be able to, instead of the hotel, be able to give your school $100 per day for you to have a substitute. So just kind of, I know, a nice little 4-day break. I know it's hard to be away from your kids, but that would be the fun thing to do. All right. So I kind of put up some pictures, and hopefully that did not ruin it. Just kidding, that's the surprise for later. If I could not. Yeah. Okay, so just to kind of run through, I figured I'd go through quickly and not for you. It's like vacation photos. This is my vacation for 4 days. I got to put in a microscope. So the first one, the fluorescence microscope, looks pretty normal, but you end up using some fluorescent dyes to illuminate your sample, so you can really see the difference. I don't know, this was probably, ranked like number 3 on my favorites. I totally stole that image from somewhere, so I have no idea. This is from somebody else that was on the computer. I just saw it and thought it looked cool. That's Inkwell, same type of idea. This is from one of the nano inks. They're Inkwells. That company actually just went out of business, but still has some operating dip pen machines or instruments, so that's kind of one thing. The Q Nano, this is something else that's kind of interesting, maybe a little bit more towards your physics side. You end up putting particles, nanoparticles in the top chamber and the bottom chamber, and then you do the computer part, which you're kind of pipetting. I just threw some pictures together. That's John, the guy that's in charge, so if you email him, he's very nice and will respond to you. There were about 6 or 8 of us that were there every day. And you basically are looking at the current that's running through the sample. And then based on that current that's running through the sample, you run an analysis and you kind of get your particle size through that. So that was another example that they used. And a report. And then scanning tunneling microscope, which, oh my goodness, okay, here's my little pass around. Lee, can you see this? Don't drop it, okay? That is the needle, the wire that you put in the scanning tunneling, the platinum iridium wire. So you can see it. One of them is like my screw-up cut, and then the other one is one of the actual cuts for the scanning tunneling microscope. So going there, they just totally let you play. Like the first day we're like, well, I don't want to. And they're like, no, no, no. And I'm like, how could I break it so that I don't do that? Like they told me the worst thing I could do. And everything else, you're like, oh, it's not working. Hopefully I didn't break the $30,000 machine. So yeah, if you can see that in there, that's awesome. That's the little wire tip that fits right there to mount. So they have you practice cutting it. I didn't do a very good job. I'll show you mine. Oh yeah, I kind of threw up some costs just because I just did a presentation on this for my grad school. So figured why not some costs for that. Because Wheeling High School, if anybody has looked in the news, has gotten scanning electron microscopes. They have a nano lab there now. So I think that's in the past year they just did that. And I'm going to skip that. Again, I don't know if you really want to know quantum tunneling. So that's us cutting the iridium wire, cleaning it, the platinum iridium. There's a picture of it. There's me putting it in and hopefully not dropping it. And that is the SEM image of the wire that we cut. This was actually Tina's. She did a very nice job. Mine kind of was a flat. So I just let her do that. And again, they use tin foil just like, or aluminum foil, how old am I? They use foil just like places like Argonne and Fermi to make a Faraday cage around their instruments to keep out the electromagnetic waves, if you will. There's the sample scanning.
Yeah.
Scanning, again, that's what the picture should look like. We weren't very good at it, but so that's kind of, you know, your textbook photo there. And then going on from that, this one's my least favorite machine, or instrument, if you will. My professor from college would kill me, machine, instrument. I could not focus my eyes through there, so I think I have depth perception issues. And they're like, everybody's like, look, see right there, see where the needle is, the probe is the cantilever, and I could not see it with my eyes for 4 days. It was the worst thing ever. They're all like, wow, that's so cool. And then I'd get down and look and be like, I have no idea what I'm looking at. So I finally just gave up. And they said about like 20% of people have a hard time focusing their eyes on the 2 different depths for that. So my least favorite instrument, $30,000. And again, they just totally have fun, play, you know, not too much. There are samples that they have for you to practice with. You get a nice topographical image. Kind of different views, you can play with them, you know, just twist them around in every way, a lot of confirmation or product confirmation. I'm not going to show this video just unless anybody really wants to see it, but it's called IBM, the world's smallest movie, A Boy and His Datum. So I think a lot of you have seen that, and if not, you can look it up. But that was also something that was done with an atomic force microscope. So just kind of fun things that your students might like to do. And the last one, the scanning electron microscope. Doesn't look like the ones that you see at Argonne or anything, but it's a little bit more affordable. So then my next one, this is just a picture of, they like let you bring whatever in and stick it in there. My mom wanted to know the composition of this for sales purposes. It is worth nothing, it's nickel. So I know. And I was like, there you go, Mom.
Poor Mom.
So that's just a scan of the smooth side, so you can kind of just see how fun that is. And then even closer up into one of those. To kind of give you a feel like it was literally just, here's the carbon tape, here's what we mounted on, here's some sugar. We're going to be taking a look at this rusty nut today, okay? And now you're like weirded out. You have to make sure this is how you don't break it. It cannot be higher than passing under that white bar, so that's the important part. And to make it more real life, since we are actually going to use it, I figured I would show you if I can find it outside here. So, that's my arm. We're putting in the sample. Because if not, you're like, what are we doing? And actually, my hair is on that sample, not the rusty nut, but what can I say? I only took one take. And so, you're closing the chamber. You have, and I forgot to take a picture, as you can tell. You're supposed to take a picture so you can navigate it. And then close the chamber and set the vacuum. So put it under vacuum. And then
I experimented.
kind of just do that. All right, and now here comes the fun. If I can again figure out how to use my computer. So their whole point of this program is to actually remotely access their scanning electron microscope, their AFM, their STM, through your computer. So we are right now controlling John Carzoli's computer and Oakton at their nano lab, so in Skokie. So just kind of to do a quick sample, and to show you that anybody can use a scanning electron microscope, including me. We're going to hit start and go with it. So this is the rusty nut at 100 times magnification. And as I've learned, it always looks better with the higher voltage electron beams. So we can kind of zoom in. Scan again. We can do an autofocus. Autofocus. This really is hitting home the technology, right? And then, you know, even under the analytical beam, so if you really want a pretty picture.
Can you access this through Oakton's website, or where are you accessing
You
this?
have to do the training with them.
Oh.
Yeah, so I guess that's the kind of the catch-22 is you have to at least be there to learn.
And do you schedule then?
So I just texted Troy and I was like, yo, Troy, will you throw in that little rusty nut for me for tonight? And he did it. So yeah, you can schedule. They plan on doing it during doing a nano lesson with your students, and then they would be able to do it during the day for you and leave it in there. And you can pretty much control anything on the computer. They just leave the sample in and make sure that it's on. And then my favorite part, unless you're extremely bored, is the, Lee's like, yes, just a little.
No.
The sample, so then it's like, well, scan electron microscope, that's not so new. It's been around for a while. But the analytical part, I think, is just really the chemistry part that the kids would enjoy. So my mom wanted to know what that was made of to see if it would be something she could sell, right? And so you do the EDS for the X-ray analysis. So we can just do that and see what the rusty hex nut should be made of, which, anybody?
Iron.
Iron. Anything
Oxygen.
else? Oxygen. There you go.
Gold.
Gold. Yeah. That's a good one. Oh, he could go all night. All right, so then that's just scanning and basically collecting those X-rays from it to figure out what we have here. And I know it's kind of small on the screen, but we have a lot of our iron peaks. We have some oxygen. We have some chlorine too. So who knows what that is doing. It shows the color of the peaks on the sample to show you what is where, and kind of just analyzes it that way. So that is pretty much my presentation of that. And if you have more questions about going to the workshop, it was their first time running it when I was there. They're just really excited to have teachers come and learn. And the other thing that I think I'm going to do more so than showing this in class is they will allow you to bring students there at night. So I'm going to take like a small group of students and just have them work with the SEM. So that's it.